Hello, hello. From somewhere deep in the woods, I am hidden from the world, trying to get some things done. Be right with you. Oh, sorry about that. Spirits in the sky. So, what's going on out there, world? What's going on? Hi, Mark, how are you? Sorry, I want to apologize first to everybody in our groups. So if you're a member of Taking Back America or the global army of Donald J. Trump, know this. I had attended some rallies, well, not some. I went to a rally today. Turned out I was the youngest guy there. Go figure. Very concerned elderly citizens now following me, and a nearby neighborhood to me as well. And they're just good people. I'm sorry, Mark, if you're fixing to go to bed, it's all good, brother. I'm going to get right with you, too, because I'm not one of these stay-up-late people. You can catch us. It'll be on. But anyway, getting back to the groups. Try not to be too upset with me. I know there's a lot of dumpsters out there that bring me a lot of good news and stuff, and I didn't get a chance to approve everything. I was trying to collect some data and information to share with people, as well as collect thoughts and opinions and everything like that going on in their lives, helping them to move forth in Pennsylvania with this huge petition that we're getting together. And basically we need to do what, is going on in other states as far as the election, and really trying to press back, at least for our state here, to, let me turn this down just a little bit here. I got some background music on in my workshop. Anyway, so it's a huge petition against, we want a recount. We want a hand recount. We want what everybody else is now stepping up to do. And we know a lot's coming out as far as what's going on in many places. I don't want to get deep into it because I have already talked about this. What's up, Eddie? How are you? Jim, how are you doing? So anyway, as far as, you have my apologies for not being as active as I could have been today. And we actually just had a little meeting between some of us because we were all active today, getting out, doing stuff and showing support. That's going to happen. We're going to maybe fill another seat with a moderator who can always be near you and try to give you more attention, because you guys deserve it. You joined the group. You should have somebody watching. So my apologies to the two rooms. Know that we do care, because I do, This is 10 O'Clock Talks. I'm Michael Anthony. You're just seeing me in a different environment, deep in the woods up here where I hide and I carve and make a lot of wood things. I do a lot of things by hand with wood and chainsaws. I love my chainsaws. But anyway, that has nothing to do with where we go, what we talk about on a regularity of a night. I want to start off today. They were doing a testing in West Virginia, Ohio, and Pennsylvania, and they just bombarded us all day long. And every time these planes passed, you felt the whole environment change. You really did. The winds picked up. You could feel the temperature drop, which that's what they're looking to do, dim the sun. And that's what they were doing. Now, I know, and I want to share this with you. A lot of things were confiscated and taken due to some very special people that kind of put a block up and got a hold of their materials that they were bringing into the United States to use with this modernization of what they call the power grid, which was truly a 5G radiation weapon that when it is turned on, what they spray in the sky becomes active. And that's true. That is really true. That does happen. Well, now with this happening, they went back to like the old program, and they were testing this silver, barium, strontium, and now they're using Teflon. Hello, Kimberly. How are you? Thanks for stopping in, sweetheart. Anyway, so they bombarded our skies, and you could literally just see it and how they cloaked the whole atmosphere. this is where they're going with their changes. So, that was disappointing. However, the rally was pretty good. But again, these were older citizens in the county of Armstrong. Some of them are following me, and they're, really doing the best they can for me. But, sometimes you got to go and visit them, talk with them and whatnot. And they were all asking me for cards. Like, I don't carry cards for what I do. Just get on Facebook and look for Michael Anthony. But anyway, that said, you do what you need to do. And my apologies to everybody who have posts still pending. We'll get to them this evening. I promise they will be all aboard. The only other thing I can say pertaining to that is, if you post 9, please understand we're going to float them out. If you hit the button too many times on approve, you start hitting the button, they don't work no more. They don't work anymore. So we can only set them free in a pattern of time. So just so you understand that. Friday, I'd like to talk to you guys about something that's going to be really challenging in America, of some really true facts that are coming out on this Frankenshot that I report a lot on. And it's going to be really interesting, and it's going to be focused only to one thing: truth. And everybody needs to know this part of all this truth, as far as I'm concerned. Hopefully you'll get something out of it, and maybe we can get on from that point into something different. So that said, I just want to let you know that Friday's going to be heading to that kind of a narrative. It's going to be a live episode kind of thing. I don't know why I'm calling it an episode, but that's where I'm going with it. I also want to let you know some real statistic numbers, and I'm going to mention a couple things tonight. So it might actually, you might gain some interest of even more of what I'm going to share to you. A lot of states now are starting to lift the masks. Now, it's not in the Democratic states, the blues, of course, and people are now putting lines across the United States saying, let's build the wall here. I'm with you, but don't cut Pennsylvania out of that wall, because there's a lot of us good people here in Pennsylvania who basically want to be on that side of the wall with you. We truly do. We're part of everything you stand for. So, we are seeing something get free. And the funny part about it is what's going on. Now, I told you yesterday about the CDC director coming out saying, I'm going to go off script here, and she makes almost terrifying remarks. Today, her whole narrative changed. Like, she never had this live interview. And she did have this live interview. And yet, they change again. And let's not forget, the CDC does own all the patent rights to the C-19. Okay? And that is the truth. Do your homework. They truly do know what it is. And factual numbers, there are more people now. What's going on, and what I want to talk about Friday is this. And I'm hoping this will help draw you in. And it's pretty conclusive right now on what we do know. And that is the truth. Where we're going with this is within the first 3 days. That's when mortality does affect people on a different variety of all the shots. There's actually 10 pharmaceutical companies involved, but there's 4 primaries. And the other ones are behind them, they're subsidiaries. But what we are finding out in the first 72 hours, that's the mortality rate on a higher rate. Which now we're finding out, and they're nowhere near getting out enough of these vaccinations. They're even offering money bonds to people to come get your second shot. People are now halting, and I'm so happy to share that with you. They are really halting, saying, we're not coming for this second shot. Our eyes are opening. And I'm glad. I really am. So when you have things like that happening, and you have a higher mortality rate due to the cure than the disease, how about that? And that is the truth. That is the damn truth. So that's where we're at right now in all this. But I have a lot of data, a lot of statistics that I can share with you. They've been forwarded to me by people that of great stature who have a deep concern of where this Democratic Party and the narrative really all come from. I also want to talk about Candace Owens. This girl's, she's a rocket. She really is. And she has a lot to say to people, and she comes out strong. She's very boisterous. She has very eloquent speaking, and, she has a lot to say. She calls Biden and Harris crooks, and hey, have I not said that myself, Not trying to get anything out of that, I'm just saying. But she gives breakdowns, and look for her video, and she talks about the breakdown on the tax dollars and what's really going on in the country as far as all that stuff. So don't miss that video. If I was to sit here and try to go over every issue of everything that comes up, I'd have no time to talk about anything because everything could take an hour. So I'm just trying to put some throws out there, get your glove on, catch all those balls, all those fastballs, do the best you can for yourself and educate yourself because you're going to be the best person that you can do that for and for you. Hi, Moni. How are you? Anyway, I'm trying to respond as I can to the waves and stuff. So, hello. By the way, this is 10 O'Clock Talks. I am Michael Anthony. I am off on the road. So that's why you're seeing me not behind the 10. Or in front of the 10, should I say. But yeah, Candace she's a rock star, and she's out there. And again, with the CDC now changing all their outside mask elements, and Fauci even came forward. This is the other thing that's so strange. He wants you just to use good common sense. Come on. We know the mortality rate now from the shot and what's occurring from the shot. We have more difficulties with that than ever being told the truth about all the true issues and connections where people died, with the disease, but other complications. So when you have that narrative of other complications, but yet we know now the factors of numbers being extracted because people putting pressures on all these pharmaceutical companies, that is the true evidence and exposure that we look for. At least for me, from the 10, that's my viewpoint. That's where I stand with it. So Friday should be really interesting. It's going to be quite long, and I'm going to have to do a lot of reading from something. But you know what? It'll give you all good insight. Now, these grow labs. These are, hey, TBS, what's going on, girlfriend? How's Oakmont? Thanks for stopping in. So the lab meats, I hope you read my post and how they develop them and where they want you to go with 4 pounds of meat per family per year. I can't see families surviving that way. People are, we're meat lovers, not in a bad way. We just aren't. We're a different type of people, and we like our foods. What's up, Jack? How are you? I'll get to your post, buddy. I promise you, brother. I promise you. I've just been busy, rallies and different things, traveling today. And they went well, just so you know. But anyway, yeah. It's unbelievable how they are developing them. And here's the other thing. There was a few years back where something had happened. It was quite catastrophic. It really was. There was a lot of issues being reported then in the media when the media was still reporting on things. And they were mixing this substance into ground meat. It's all traceable. It's all out there. It can be looked up. And basically, they were having issues on how they could make this work. On how they could make this step that they're trying to take us into of their new green plan and all this more quote unquote by them politically correctness bullshit that they give us, where the world will be in a better place without the cattle and without the farmers. And that's why the extractions of support and money and all that has basically occurred. And I got to tell you, there are handfuls and handfuls of organizations and now 24 countries coming at Gates who have stopped everything with the Frankensteiner. 24 countries plus everything going on in the United States and states of the United States now joining in this battle as well. I see a big turn of events here. I really do. my mind tells me what I have described the other day. I didn't get into it real lengthily, but I did describe to a lot of people, I try to, the best I can, as what I see, what I learn, what's given to me at times, where we're going with all this. And it's a big platform of a lot of things, a lot is hard to accept. But I want you to know, when it comes to this report of everything inside this meat development, really read, because they started off with human cells. And what are we? Beast? I mean, maybe that's how we know where they are with what we hear of the modern day vampire scenario and cannibalism things, etc., etc. You're not going to turn us into your blood makers. I'm sorry. Please look into this. It's real facts. It's out there. And if you look on, I think, Taking Back America, there is a pretty good post out there that gives a little bit of a description of what I'm trying to say to you. But when you read what's in this, you will have a hard time wanting to put anything near your mouth. Barbecue is everything, brother. I get you, Jack. Barbecue is everything. It's the American way. And we're right amongst our holidays. We want our things. The part that I do protest on meats right now is the support of China and all this pork. And if you barbecue, you know what I'm talking about. Jack would, because he's mentioning barbecue. But the truth of the matter is, Smithfield Foods is a big element of who China is. And I try to get everything harvested locally to me in my areas of travel. I'd rather go pay double than the market price and know that I'm getting antibiotic free and I'm supporting a small business of some sort or family who is out there for us working hard to give us a good product and our meat source that we want, not what they want us to believe we need or that we need to learn how to live with. It's not going to happen. You can stick that so far up your, that's just the way it is from my side, and I know everybody agrees with that, and if you do, send a few thumbs up, because people need to know that people of the majority want what we want, because we understand America as how America has developed and what our narratives of our lifestyle truly are. And we're not going to change it for anybody. I want you to look up something else that might help you, and I thank you. I want you to look up something else too. This has not been said by me more than once, but it has, okay? Laugh at that, but true. But now it's coming out in bigger ways. It's coming out through the churches. It's coming out through the military. Andrea Crumb. I might be pronouncing it wrong, but I know it's like that, and I know what it is and all that, but I want you to look it up. I also want to share something with you. This is something the doctors figured out, excuse me, about 10 years ago. They first came out by accident with Viagra, and I know we're going to get on to a topic that's a little bit strange and different, but it's true facts. Medical people who were good were trying to actually help men with these issues. When you have problems, it affects your mind and all that stuff too. And if the pills didn't work, then they started with some different types of injections and so forth. Again, bear with me. I won't stay with this long because I don't want to come off on the wrong way anywhere. But what they figured out was when young people, and this is where all the weirdness is involved, and I'm not going to get into that, but this is where the weirdness does get involved. They'll extract blood from your own body. The doctors put it into this machine that violently stirs and jacks the blood up. When it does that, they allow it to become in a cold chamber, allow a controlled cold chamber that allows the blood to settle but separate. There's the point. There is a separation. That's what they look for, these creeps. Okay? They extract this. Okay? Then they inject it. And they find out it makes a 70-year-old man seem like he jacked the whole bottle of Viagra by taking this and re-injecting the separation of the blood particles with the enderochrome, and they inject it into the the thing, okay? I want to say it that way because I don't want to upset any of the women, although I think we're all big people here. We can talk about it. But they figured out how this made this guy a rock star. Get it? A rock star. And it worked. So then they decided, if this is working, the government people behind the government said, wow, crazy, let's check this out. That's where it really started to push the narrative of this and this issue of what General Flynn said and Linwood said. Look it up, learn about it. But the truth is, if you have cancer, things like that, injections to the site while it's being killed with radiation, cures it. They're not going to tell you that, but a lot of that is exactly true. Yeah, I agree with you. There was a lot brought up. There was early studies to a lot of things. But remember, that's suppression. That's suppression, Jack. And it's a shame. But that's where we are. That's what we live in. And pharma wants to get their hands on it. Just like take the Rockefellers. I'll go back. I'll step back. And I've even talked about this in my show, 10 O'Clock Talks. When Rockefeller figured out from petroleum products, he could make heroin and enhance opium and all these other drugs and a lot of drugs. He became the pharmaceutical king, and he took people off the narrative of natural into pharma. Because people like the Indians, they knew about leaves and herbs and flowers and etc. And they knew how to extract and mix. And that was the early medicines. And then when Rockefeller come into play, and they were putzing with this and found out that people were getting jacked high on it, they went into a different era of pharmaceuticals, and it opened up a big floodgate of money. And that's when money took over the government with pharma. Getting back to this, there were some early studies. Yes, I agree. There were. And why things didn't get out more, or where this idea may have come from, hidden things, Jack, speaking to you directly here for a moment, that, we were unaware of. But we do know now that it is done with doctors in offices to help in other ways. And now we know the government put their hands in it, pulled it into other ways. You see some of these people, and they're all in the government. They all live near 100 and don't look too damn bad. I mean, realistically, where we're burying people at 50 to 80 years old. And their longevities are, I guess, could be, what's up, Jeff? Their longevities are just different from ours because they get all the leading science of sickness and healthcare. So having that, I want you to know what everybody has said and what the suggestions have been. But you need to learn what this does, how it creates, and how the adrenaline works, because there's different ways to mask it and grasp it. I'll just leave it like that. I don't want to stay on that real long, but please go into it. Look, go Frank, go Frank. Yeah, I don't know if he got open today. I wasn't paying too much attention to Mike the Pillow Man. Yeah, but if it didn't happen, I got to check tonight. I just don't know. Why I'm bringing it up is I'm really looking forward to his platform of Amazon. I really am, because the more you learn about Amazon, the more scary it gets. And who they support, the narratives all behind all these huge corporations that are funding all these incorrect people. I mean, it's uncanny as to what's going on with all that. I'm going to give you something that blew my mind today, though. How many of you guys watch Judge Judy? Or have? A lot of us have. So, something was shared to me, and I sent it to a few people. But Judge Judy had Floyd on her show when he was 16 years old. And that's when his criminal activity, even before, was exposed, of the type of person that he was, even in his teens. And if you can catch the show, look it up, check it out. He's actually on there, and basically hijacking a car of a black woman in his own, again, I'll come from strongly, a black on black crime issue. It's always heavier in the black communities. It always has been. More shootings, etc., etc., etc. And I talk about it. Everybody talks about it. All the podcasters do, So with that said, this guy is on there at the age of 16, and basically he confessed to what his crime was. But that's how early in his life he was out doing things. So if you get a chance to look it up or check, I don't know if Beth had a chance to actually post it. I sent it to her and say, you should share this. Maybe she will tonight, maybe she will tomorrow, maybe it's already there. But Beth is an administrator to Taking Back America. Beth is an administrator to the Global Army of Donald J. Trump, which is another one of ours. And then we have a couple other surprise package rooms that we keep on the back burner that will, subsequently we're keeping there to help the public if we ever become more endangered and more suppression comes to the grooms and they threaten us or try to can us. We can jump immediately into a different format with different IPs and still create a show with just by changing a little this and that. But magically we can make it look the same even though it'll be different. So we're trying to stay in the fight for the public that way. Please like and share us and follow us. If you go on YouTube, there's a bunch of stuff. On my page, there's a bunch of stuff. If you go on Jack Alexander, the Jack Alexander Show, who's checking in with us tonight, please go on his page. Check him out. He's a rock star. He's a rock star. So I'll continue a little bit more here. Let's talk about this infrastructure plan, because I don't want to hold you guys up too late. I mean, I'm already late tonight. I come on late, busy day. $4 trillion. And now more is being asked for the infrastructure programs. And why? One of the things that I posted tonight was to really open up some eyes. I had one comment from Sarah. She's a rock star. She sees me come on. She always has a quick comment, and she gets real involved on what she sees. And I appreciate her for that. I really do. But what I was trying to say was this infrastructure plan, which is like only 7% that Joe wants this other 1.9 trillion and the first 4 trillion, you got breadcrumbs from it and everybody's digging it, just like the extended unemployment, which is going to backfire in America's face. And they'll figure it out. They'll figure it out what's going to happen there. But you could have taken water lines and wrapped the earth so many times to take this poison system of water. Yeah, they purify it at one end, they claim. They say they do the best they can, and then they pump it through. If you look at these pipes, you'll see what you're getting. And all I'm saying, with my opinion to what I'm seeing here in this infrastructure, none of these types of things are really going to help the American people and with safety. The things that really need addressed are not for us to be addressed. It's a narrative, again, that goes into the deep state of control issues. And I can tell you about who I think's at the top of all this, okay? And it would get quite weird. So I'm going to hold back from refraining to that right now. But the truth is, this infrastructure, if we allow this to go through, we would have to be the biggest a-holes in the world. Because, again, it's not really for the infrastructure of America. It's for climate change. It's to feed people's pockets who have made investments into this. And the narrative is of the government investors and their friends, their families, and other countries, and their friends and their families, where everybody places monies into stock because they know all the material data. When you know all the material data, which is a label on every product basically in America, but when you know these items, you can invest into them hardly and make a ton of money when you know $1 trillion is going to be invested in them for the freedom to spray to cloak us. So that said, you think that they could find more issues to help the earth. If you were going to do something where, I mean, me as a person would see it to be lucrative and make sense, like our dying seas and oceans, and, pure those out, and Okay, yeah, do we need some change in atmospheric anomalies of products that have caused issues to the American people? And as a place of unity where we live on Earth, yeah, there's much more better things we could do than spray the skies, because that will have consequences and it hasn't been thought out well enough in a good, feasible manner. And every scientist that comes forth basically says it, but again, they are suppressed as well. They truly are. The opinions of people who matter can never get their points out thoroughly enough because of suppression and threats to their jobs, as well as in education to teach people and children, your kids, in colleges now, to learn about factors on all sides. Because in education, you should have factors on all sides. You shouldn't just teach a one narrative program like they want to do with our children, and how they want to change that doctrine of education, of racism and fear to be white, being born of the wrong color. It's all just a bunch of bogus bullshit, and we all know it. We're seeing through it. But that's the narrative, even when it gets into the higher master degrees and so forth. Hidden and suppression educational issues are the problem in America and have been for the last 50 to 60 years. And whatever they can keep hidden, they will keep hidden. And that's the bottom line. But that's where they're at with it. That's the narrative that they want to keep going and they're setting forth. But it's starting to blow up in their face. And I truly believe that it is. And I truly believe America's going to see a lot better of an area of where we're going within the next 60 days. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't prepare for the next 6 months, as I told people. The narrative, they will try to change. And if it doesn't mean anything but the fear factor would work again, it's going to cause enough havoc in the industry of support of a lot of things. Hi, April. How are you? And that is the truth. So we have to keep our minds and our intelligences always working one step ahead of them. I know we all do try to do that. And at the same time, I know by everything everybody reads all day long, I'm one of them, it's a frustrating thing. But if everybody was to go and jump to Frank's speech, and hey, I'm all for him, 100%. Praises to Mike. We got nobody to fight with over there. You know what I mean? It's all the positivity side. It doesn't really take into the platform where you can have alternate opinions in a different way. Although some may exist from that side, and more of that may come out. As to how it develops and who sneaks through the cracks and gets into that platform as well. So yeah, just to go over the Endiochrome, the Grow Labs. Keep in mind, these Grow Labs on meat. April, I think you even posted something on it. Sweetheart, did you know this? I don't know if you know this. They start these Grow Labs off with this meat from human cells. I'm just going to say that because I don't want to say too much. I'll be booted off by tomorrow. But I will approach it from a different standpoint, and I hope it will enlighten. I also want to say this is going out to some people in PA. Anybody in PA, this is totally a different topic. Someone's going around stealing horses, and that bothers me terribly. So a baby Clydesdale was taken down in Sarver, and they're looking for it. It's a brown and white Clydes. I think it's a little more than a yearling. It might be 18 months. Answers to Jess. If anybody knows about anybody trying to sell a Clydesdale, or all of a sudden has a Clydesdale in their yard, I got information on my page with a picture. Please give me a call. Be informative because, I love horses. I love animals. I don't like thieves. I truly don't like thieves. And somebody's, had done this, and it happened a few days ago. So just please keep that in mind. I also want to get into a couple other things real quick here. Again, I just want to mention, if anybody's coming into the room, how they were bombarding us in Ohio, West Virginia, and Pennsylvania today, dealing with their new technology of using Teflon now being mixed into the chemicals of spraying the skies and so forth. And I can only tell you, it was up there all day, and every time that they came through heavy, it did change the atmosphere, the winds, everything immediately had a considerable difference. It could have been the amount of planes they were using. Excuse me. But it is the truth, and that's what we were going through up here. I also explained about Judge Judy. If anybody didn't get that, check it out. Mr. Floyd, the late Mr. Floyd, at the age of 16, was on there for carjacking with Judge Judy. Black on black community crime, just letting that get back out there a little bit. Now, also in Pennsylvania, a big push is going forward. So I was talking about this at the beginning. There was nobody really in the room. So I just want to bring this up real quickly because I didn't get a lot, and I'm not trying to fill time here, but it's quite evident of what we need to do in all the states. Push hard, petition whoever you have to and the courts that you want recounts, because now Pennsylvania's standing up to have a recount done here. We already know that we won a case up here that was a precedent. 20,000 dead voters got thrown off the tab, so 20,000 votes were X'd off. And that was an agreement in the courts on both sides agreeing to it that the dead would be removed. There's more to do in Pennsylvania, and if you see any postings for that, and you are from Pennsylvania, you are a registered voter, please sign that. Please sign that. Republicans are also going forward really hard on Mad Max Waters. Some call her the Zilla Queen now. The Dems are, threatening to push back, but hey, I think there's a little light being pushed to the Republican Party. They're seeing something different because all of a sudden their narratives are changing, or it just took this long for the paperwork and the issues to come more forth, and they are pushing back. There is some light of good there as well, or there's a bigger picture involved here. We just don't know what it all is yet, although I can hypothetically talk about it, but I shouldn't. Not yet. I think it's a little premature. But what I have said, what I am dropping in these drops 1 from 9, will point some fingers in direction. It may also tell you to believe in the unbelievable a little bit, just a little bit, because there's a lot of things going on. A lot of militaries involved as one now, too, as well. So there is a big fight back. And also 24 countries are saying no more to the Frankenshot. No more to the jab. No more to the Frank. Frank being 1, the Frankenshot being 2. They're now offering money. Keep that in mind. Offering money for you to get this shot. They say they have 100 million already ready. But get this. No one is showing up for them. They must have reached their plateau of platform of the people of fear. And again, I'm not trying to label them in a bad way. If they believe in it, they got to find solitude in what's going on. And I get that. Find your solitude. Go get the thing. That's your choice. I always tell everybody that listens to me, you got your choice to make whatever you want. Do it the best you can, and I wish the best for you. Anyway, bring them on to camera. I'm not sure what that's telling me. I don't know. I'm on a different thing tonight. I'm away. I'm doing a live stream just quickly here. But it says something interesting about bring them on camera. I guess I can interact, but okay, it's giving me interaction where I could actually format everybody. No, I'm not going to do that. Okay, you'll just get a better close-up of all this ugliness. It's not worth your time. I also see a lot of seats getting changed. Speaking of ugliness, the great American nation. No, I'm just joking. That's Dave Glovin, the great American nation. He's out in protest tonight. He's out causing his humble, the gospel of Glovin reports. But, he's just doing his thing. I see a lot of seats being changed, and I can't wait to see what really comes out totally in New York. I did possibly talk to this morning, a couple people. We might now see an impeachment on, Como the homo. And again, too, also, with this happening, then maybe we can get some reform into this seat in New York and then go after these media people, including his brother, who, in my mind, as well, had put efforts forth through the media with his voice to basically jack off America. And the media as well, should be held to the standards of crimes on humanity, bottom line, because they were the narrative pushers of everything that these evil SOBs that we know have pushed. And in my mind, with the CDC even owning the patent, you know where that is. Jack, I don't know if you were on when I talked about this. So I'll just go over this just real quick for you, because I know you do a show and it might help you. You have narratives of people. They push their narrative, right? CDC owns this stuff. True numbers are now coming out because of a lot of pressure, a lot of things being said. Sunday, the CDC director says, oh, I'm going to go off script here. There's terrible things going to come. Terrible things are going to happen. And Monday morning, guess what? Not so terrible anymore. The whole narrative changed. Fauci says, just use concerns. Be smart on how you wear the mask. So why the leniency all of a sudden? They can't get people to take shots. They're now offering money bonds to people taking shots. It's blowing up in their face. They're falling apart. They're actually closing down centers for shots, and now it's just going to be to the local drugstores because they see the good Republic of America fighting back, saying we're not going to tolerate it no more. We're not going to do it anymore. And that's the way it should be. Well, we'll pray for Tucker, brother. I'm sorry that your friend's sick, but, you know, they do say this. I'll give you a little bit of the stats. The first 3 days, 72 hours, 12. Yeah, that's the mortality time, if it's going to happen. And then you have what's caused a mortality of sickness due to the Franken shot, or the Frank. And that is by skin issues, clotting, and 10 other different things that I'll bring out to the public that they may not be aware of. And that has to do with what they're saying from some of these nanometal particles that are actually being injected to you as well, which causes brain dysfunctional fogginess and more of other issues where people can't concentrate directly. Anyway, they're seeing this and they know that it's occurring. But keep in mind the narratives of why, and I'm going to do a long on this for Friday. I like to do what I call the weekend report, but I just think it's really important for me to disclose to you about 30 really strong arguments and representations from people now who got their hands on materials. A lot of leakers, a lot of people dropped the papers to people and gave them to the scientists like Van Bosch, Tenpenny. I could name you 20 of them, honestly, that have these informations in their hands. But they already know also that certain things had came out some time back where a lot of these issues were actually being testified up in Washington on of what should happen with this and why we now have 24 countries pulling out of this, as well as the climate. So we are fighting back in a lot of ways. We need to just keep that in mind. Keep supporting your friends. Do the best you can, because I know right now we're in a time of need for a lot of people. They need to know that they are supported by us no matter what their choices were. We're going to get through this. It's going to be a bit of a fight. Is Trump coming back? I don't foresee Trump to come back, even if the military jumped into this full strength, because they're going to have to keep a narrative down the middle. They're going to have to keep a straight line where somebody can come in of a high military rank and can handle all this, so we can go on to that desk, grab all those indictments, and start getting them handled. I think we are getting closer to some of that happening. What we need are these seats to fill, these lower seats to fill, and they are filling. And Trump's doing his work at the top for sure. He's never stepped out of the spotlight that way. He's looking really good. He looks like he dropped 20 pounds, honestly, and I think that was a good thing for him to step out, relax, refocus his mind, and get to a plan and start to correct their narrative and fight back with different ways. Also, I'm still waiting to hear any kind of news that came out over what we think in Florida, near Juniper, I think it was, Roger Stone's place, where they think was a drone strike. Now, I don't know. There's video on it out there. Nothing more has taken place. I'm still looking for more information. I'm trying to get a hold of actually Stone's representative because I want to know more about it. I believe that too. I really do. Trump wanted to be in it to win it now, and he would have stayed. But I think he's looking at a different ideology of where he's going to go. And I think America needs to get used to the Trump train of change. It's going to be it. He established that format. I agree. He's done a great job. Bottom line is, though, I don't foresee him in 2024 committing to come back. But he may. He may. I'm not going to count it and take it completely off the table. I just don't see it. And if there was a big R&R military move where to restore the republic, the R&R, I think it'll come in a different way. And we'll have to wait to see how that just the preponderance of evidence occurs on a daily basis. We'll have to follow all these things because they're important to follow. All right, let me check and see what else I got here because my thing wasn't to go like into no 2-hour segment. I'm up in the hills, secluded and hidden, just doing a thing here. Thought I'd come on for a half hour. It's going longer, and I'm fine with that. I don't have an issue with that. I guess Beth's doing her share. She's being kind of quiet tonight and just listening to the voice. Trey Gotti, yeah, you know what? Everybody wants Trey. Trey knows this. And there's a couple other individuals that would be rock stars who left. They left the positions. They wanted no more involvement with it because they could get nothing done with it. And I wish they would have stayed a little bit longer, a little bit stronger. But there could be narratives of a different plan. And, yeah, who do they have? Cheney? Cheney's going to go against one of the Trumpsters? I don't think that's going to happen. No, but it's mentioned. It's mentioned. I can't agree with you on trade. Well, I mean, we're all entitled to our opinion. I'll respect yours. I'm going to agree to disagree with you on the ideology of where your ideology is of Trey Gotti. I think he's a pretty strong guy with, he has a pack of a lot of people behind him. But again, you know, it's just to agree to disagree. It's all good between friends. I don't know 100%. Do any of us? So let's say that Trump does it, if we're going to stick to this just for a minute, and he doesn't come back. Who could his appointees be? A two woman failure? I mean, that Candace and his daughter, maybe, I don't know. I have a couple guys in mind that I think that he's thinking towards. And then another narrative of what, Chris Christie, he's thinking about taking on Trump. That's not going to happen. He'll probably die of a sub overdose before that ever happens. Oh, she's just listening. Okay. Beth is just listening. Yeah, to me, Chris Christie and Cheney, or whatever, I'm sorry. Was it Cheney, or who am I thinking of? I might be thinking of somebody else. But Chris Christie, I see him dying of a subway overdose. You know, nah, I can't go with that there. I can't go with that. So, I don't know what you guys thought of Biden's first 100 days, but I think it was despicable and terrible. I think the narrative is still to take us in a direction by the Democrats to where we do not want to go, nor should we go to it. And we need to stand up and just continue to fight forward. Dave Glovin, Michael Anthony, I don't know if that's a question mark or if I'm being asked something. Candace Owens, Greenshaw, Dave Glovin. The Republicans would support. I wouldn't. Hey, Jen, how are you? Yeah, I thank all the Patriots, too. And don't forget about some of the Patriots down in Texas right now. Terry Anderson, Patriots at large. They're rock stars. They're doing footwork. We had some footwork going on today. We did things to support both administrators, Rod. We had a third party doing some other things to help tabulate some things and get some data for me for Friday. Everybody worked hard the last couple days. Everybody worked hard. Hi, John. How are you? Oh, I wouldn't either. But I'm just saying, there's just talk. There is talk, and he was questioned in an interview. So I can only refer to that part. I know that was out there. And also, I don't get a chance to read everything. Yeah, you damn right they are, Don. Terry Anderson and the crew, and there's so many names. I just happen to know Terry. We've talked individually between each other. Him and his wife and the whole group down in Texas, they're just amazing. Also, Merle, he's always trying to flood me with information, give me things up north Texas. Has to do, I guess, more with the immigrations and the illegals and the plants in all the states. Of what's going on, and we know that they are going on. So they're being planted into all the states, and that's where I'm so opposed to why people won't work right now. It's going to backfire on them. I will say this till my dying day. When the government is done with you, they will drop you. And right now, the government is in control on the Democratic left side. With that happening, they'll entice you to do whatever you may think helps you. It could backfire on you. They say you don't have to work, you can keep getting it. Their push is to say, well, if you don't want people on unemployment, pay them more money and maybe they'll get off unemployment. All right, so here we go into the wage increase at the small businesses. 30% across America to 33% have already died and failed and had to leave their businesses and lost them, and they want yet the remaining 70% who are not even at full capacity in any way, still being held back by the governments to pay people more money to get them off the unemployment. What happens when everything comes forth and they don't need it no more? And people wonder why. What was this big illegal immigrant thing about? It was about keeping you to suppress you while they take your jobs. For them to come in here because they'll work for the minimum wage set program that is in place. Well, go F that. People have to wake up. Well, yeah, they're always going to infringe on rights. I'm not catching every one of these. Some of them are that sheriff to be proud of and to get behind. We got to get behind everybody that we know of good character. I don't care if people are running for offices, and I've said this about grassroots. I said this before Linwood said it. I said this before General Flynn. Go back, listen to my videos if you feel like it, and you should. I put this out there months ago. Grassroots are everything, and without them, we will be destroyed. We need to push every narrative back, whether we're fighting a petition, whether we're fighting Mad Max and Nancy Land, it doesn't matter. Whether it's to remove and replace R&R, our republic, okay? Remove and replace R&R, our republic, and that's so strong of a measure that we could jump into and control. Bring everything into this freaking huge central of America. Right out in the open. Challenge them on everything and kick their freaking butts. Because we can do it. But I can't, the thing is this. That's why I went today. It was a small thing. But it was important that I went. It wasn't the crowd I would have liked to have been able to share discussions with. It was more the elderly concern. I want to see these young people strong, American patriots, get out there. I need that in our state of Pennsylvania. We need that in all the states. Bottom line. I just see in my state when something goes on and even a big name semi comes in, 100 people? Come on. That's nothing. Our voice is nothing with 100 people. We need people. And Texas, again, these are like the weekender warriors. Weekend warriors. I got to call Terry and tell him that. And it's true that they really are. They're the weekend warriors, and we need to do this in all our states. Even if it means you got to walk away from this damn thing. Even us podcasters, walk away. Do an APC broadcast. Do it later. Upload it. If you're followed, you're going to continue to be followed. Push this agenda for us that we need people to fill these seats, even if they don't even know what they're doing. If they have in your community, some of these small boroughs, and everybody knows Jim Smith, okay, just per se, his name is that, and he knows everybody, and everybody just likes this guy. Put him into an office, just anything it takes to take over it and R&R us back. Restore the republic any way we can. We'll figure out once they get there how to support them. People all across the United States, they will be able to call and discuss issues in their community if they don't know how to deal with them, and educate them to get through the things to get through. What's important is not of any face of anybody. Get rid of the old and get in with the new. Let these young people get in there, stand up strong, and even if they're not young, my whole point to this is just get them replaced. And say we don't replace them all, but say we get 30%. That gives us more control. We already see seats and some things coming forth where change could be possible in a strong way. We only need to do so much to isolate better things to get control back. And the one thing we must stop is filibusters and the fill of the Supreme Court. We can never, ever support anything like that. Do we have failure in the Supreme Court? Yes. Do we have dirt in the Supreme Court? Yes. I'm humbled in a way to say this, that all of us can be deceived. I think President Trump was deceived on his nominees. They had a different agenda, and he got blindsided there. I really believe that a little bit. So we need concentrations to where right now what we can fix in the elections that are important, and the pre-elections and the elections coming that will come up to fill the seat in November. We do have enough time now to figure it out and where to put our strengths. I don't know how to make people understand this any more than I preach for the last 3 months. And anybody that's listened to me knows that I preach this. They don't want to hear me. They don't want to hear me that they need to go to work, because if they don't work, these other people will get their jobs in the future. That's how it will pan out. And if we don't do grassroots, that's going to give the other side, the left, all the momentum that they need to reset the America that they want. And I can't wait to share with you. And I know for a fact, unequivocally, why Bitcoin's doing what it's doing right now. Because when you find out who is behind Bitcoin, you're going to crap your pants. That's how big that story is going to be. But look, people made investments. If I talk about what I know, and I'm telling you, it's going to blow people's minds. And I might not even be the one that comes out first to say it, and I don't even care. But it's going to come out, and oh my God, you're going to have some of these investors are going to be like crazy angered at what they find out. I can mention 20 other things that will take you into scenarios just like that now that have been pre-planned into this modernization of change of bullshit that we have from the left, these democratic cult criminals. And that's what we have. And not just here. I also called for this months ago when I said that this was a global issue. It's more than a global issue. It truly is more than a global issue. I just don't know what the word above that would be. But it is globally a problem through all the governments. What is it? Jay, you might even know this. Or Dave, you might know this. 176 countries signed on to this, and now they're all draining and withdrawing out. Now that all the collapse of all the underground issues have come to light. So when the collapse drops, this is what I tell you people. And I tell everybody this. Please listen and focus here. Collapse the bottom. You'll kill the top. When the structure is gone at the bottom, and it works with everything in life that way, just with like the power of words. I brought this up numerous times as well. Words are everything. There are thought patterns of how we understand the world, how we understand. And if you really want to know, how did words start? How did words begin? How did words ever get definition? That is the book I am still in search of. If I could dive into the Library of Alexandria, I would do it in a heartbeat, because I know there is a book that explains this. I know it, and I think it's hidden in the Vatican. But this also explains what I'm telling to you now. It was the explanation and decipherments of how language was put together, and by who put it together. And the book does exist, and it's very, very ancient, and rubber glove system, chamber to open it, to look in it. But anyway, just getting the things of those narratives, I can blow up on you on that stuff, because am I a theorist of things? Yes, without a doubt. But I know the existence of these do occur and do happen. But one thing I can't ever walk away from, the grassroots programs. Our predecessors of life, our families, our grandparents, The Woodstockers, you know, the true rock and roll backbone of America who stood up for freedom in America and the rights to be heard were our grandparents. And they got out there and they taught us how to go after grassroots and how to stop segregation and all these idiotic BS narratives that are fed to us right now. Did we ever see it to be this worse? No, none of us ever seen it to be this worse. I never did. I walked through life, man, getting on my Harley or taking out one of my cars. I worked my butt off. I never not did that. I'm a workaholic person. No matter what, I'm doing something. And I know a lot of Americans are. And that's where patriotism starts. That is the backbone. The Americans have bled with their hands. Bled to build this country. Do you ever really ride down the road and say, how the hell did this all get here? Isn't it uncanny what man can do in a republic such as what we have had? And how now the flip of destruction on how they can just take it away. And we can't let this happen. Always remember, in football, and I don't support sports any longer, you get thrown to pass. Say it's from Dan Marino, and it's coming to you, Jack. It's coming to you, Dave. It's coming to Jen. It's coming to Beth. And you're going to catch that ball. And guess what? Here I come. I clip the shit out of your legs, man. I catch you at the calves. I rip your legs out from underneath you. What happens to that ball 9 out of 10 times? You either miss it, you drop it, or you're stopped dead. That's the point. Stop them dead now. We got to stop these. I want to swear here, and I don't want to do that because I want to say hi to all the Christians and prayers that you send. I want to say hi to Pam. I know you send me, and Renee. Thank you. If you hear your name mentioned here, it's because you make me think of you. Mary Kay also. We have a lot of Christians that come into the group, who don't come into the group, that do see these types of formats that I do. I'm different than anybody you're ever going to meet. I'm boisterous in a different way. My explanations are always going to be different than anybody else's opinion. I am who I am where I am, and I want to come at you again another day, another time. That said, I'm a little loud tonight, and I don't mind being it. The point is this, America, whoever sees this, whoever can share this further and further, what the freak are you people doing? Get out there. It's now. It's now. Your time is now. Push this narrative. Take this podcast or stick this one up here because you're not looking at the right direction. What we need to do is enforce what is necessary into the American Republic now, not tomorrow, not the day after tomorrow, sitting in front of these. Yes, we need them. Yes. Do we need to communicate? Yes. Can you still sit there? Of course you can. Make a difference an hour a day. Make a difference one day a week. Get involved. Go somewhere. Write a letter. Make a phone call. Don't let up. And seek for everything that you can get in life that these PRs stands for something else. Put out there. Because we could come into the hardest time in the Republic that we know very shortly. They're not going to take this lying down. And Friday will say a lot when I give you the download of information that I have. And it's great information. It comes from the highest points in America in ways. It's very important. It talks, and I will talk about much of how they got us to this point with what they have done. And I think we do have a plan of attack that will go back. It will suppress them. They will be faced, and Gates will be faced with multiple lawsuits from all over the country. All over the country, and Fauci as well, for the narrative of fear that he has pushed into the American people of a lie. Of a lie. And remember what I told you. I'll get into this. Keep this last part in mind before I get off here. Mortality rates, we will talk about. When they happen, how they happen, when and where the possibility of sickness, disease by breath can reoccur from what not was the true disease known as COVID, but the Frankenshot. That was the war. That was the disease, the Frankenshot. It killed more people that we know now. We know now that has and created more sickness in that area than the actual occurrence of how they packed these people together, because they knew what it would take on how to do it and who to affect. Trump said it within the first 48 hours. What we have to be worried about is the sick and the old. And what's the first thing these damn governors did? They put your grandparents, your relatives all together in these things with people who were uneducated in nursing homes. They have one doctor who comes through twice a week. They weren't prepared. They have bed changers. They weren't prepared to become a nurse or a doctor. And therefore, you have crimes on humanity. It's going to blow up in Fauci's face. And that little witch bitch that used to stand with it, she's in Skin Deep too, and now is part of Bush Foundation. So go figure that one out. I can't think of her name, but you know who I am, what I'm talking about. Preached one way and went out there and did something the other way anyway. Anyway, I'm Michael Anthony. This is 10 O'Clock Talks. You guys are all rock stars. I thank you for joining in tonight. If I was a little loud, that's just the way it comes sometimes. But I can't push it hard enough. Get involved, America. You guys are great. Thank you for always having me. I appreciate you so much. I'll be back on tomorrow live because I'm working on the road. I'm doing some things. I made promises to people, and I got to keep everyone. If you're any kind of a man in America, always keep your promise. And remember, don't judge me. I will never judge you. You guys are rock stars. Thanks.